My daughter fell in love with the boss of a competing company. It broke our family. Hello, friends. I'm sharing a story that I still can't fully comprehend, a story that turned my life, my business, and everything I had built over the years upside down. I always thought the scariest thing in the world was to lose something precious in a single moment. But it turns out the deepest pain comes from betrayal, especially when it comes from your own child. My name is Anna, I'm 48 years old, and for over 20 of those years, I've dedicated myself to our family business. We produce clothing in the small town of New Haven, Connecticut. Our brand has never been nationally known, but locally, we've earned respect for our quality and trust. We don't just sell products, we offer care and dedication. Over the years, I've become accustomed to giving all of myself to this work, knowing that it's the foundation of our family's well-being and the livelihood of nearly 20 employees, who feel like family too. After my divorce 10 years ago, I had to be both mother and father to my daughter. Sophia was only 15 back then, and I quickly felt the full weight of single-handedly raising a teenager. Those years were pure struggle for me, one hand on the business, the other on parenting, with barely any energy left. But I always believed that our family business was what kept us connected. In 2018, after finishing college, Sophia joined our company. I was thrilled that my daughter, whom I had raised in this demanding business world, chose to stay with me. She handled marketing and even helped increase our sales by 15% in 2019. I thought we were the perfect team and that the company would one day be in her reliable hands. But fate had different plans. In January 2023, Sophia told me she wanted to try something new and broaden her horizons. I even felt proud of her ambition when she said she'd been offered a position with a competitor, a large corporation led by Mark Richards. He was known for his bold goals to dominate the regional market. Sophia assured me it was temporary, saying, "I'll learn new skills and come back with valuable knowledge." After that, though, things started to change. Sophia grew distant, and our conversations became mere formalities. She avoided eye contact, our talks were brief, and her gaze was always cast down. My daughter, who used to be my closest friend, now felt like a stranger. I lay awake at night, haunted by questions. What went wrong? Where did I fail? One day, when I asked her directly if everything was okay, she brushed it off, saying I was overreacting, and that she was just overwhelmed with work. But my instincts told me there was more to it. Strange things began to catch my attention. I discovered by chance that one of our ideas, developed last August, had appeared in a new advertising campaign for Mark's company. I knew we hadn't shared this information with anyone, and my suspicions grew by the day. But that was just the beginning. The business I'd built on trust, love, and hard work started to fall apart. The thoughts running through my head were relentless. How could I have trusted so blindly? Comments from Reddit users user 123 hopeful, "Wow, that's really tough. It seems like even the closest people can let us down. It's terrible that things like this happen with the ones we love most." Small Biz Grind 92, reading this hurts because it's exactly what I fear most. I've poured everything into my family business, hoping my kids would carry it on. Hang in there, Anna, and don't give up. Angelina, dare to dream. Maybe Sophia's just caught up in the opportunities. Young people sometimes don't realize the consequences of their choices. This is a difficult situation. I hope you get the chance to sort things out. Family Matters 44. I know what it's like when family members choose work over family values. It's incredibly painful, but things will eventually settle down. It hurts to write this, but I feel compelled to share my story fully. Sometimes, by sharing our pain, we find a bit of relief. After all, who better than strangers on Reddit to understand the chasm that can arise between loved ones? January 2023. I arrived at our New Haven office one morning to find Mark Richards himself, yes, the competitor Sophia now worked for, standing there in his immaculate suit. It turned my whole world upside down. Supposedly, he was there for a coincidental meeting with a client, though I knew this client never visited us in person. Mark seemed oddly familiar with our schedule, and Sophia barely acknowledged me while he was around. I only noticed a quick exchange of glances between them that sent a cold, sticky feeling through my heart. A few days later, I discovered that one of our key ideas, one we'd been developing for more than 6 months, had become the focus of a new ad campaign for his company. This design, which we'd started working on in July 2022, was supposed to be our breakthrough this spring. At first, I thought, maybe it's just a coincidence. Maybe Mark really is just better at this than I am, but my heart disagreed, and I couldn't bring myself to trust anyone. My mind wanted to believe Sophia, but deep down, I knew my own child might be part of this deception. In February, I accidentally came across some documents on Sophia's desk, a technical outline for Mark's company's new strategic direction, which strongly resembled our own plans for 2023. After that, I couldn't sleep soundly. Night after night, I'd wake up, haunted by the thought that everything I'd worked for was slipping through my fingers. Mark seemed like a predator, taking everything that was ours. And I couldn't understand why Sophia didn't see it, or worse, why she didn't want to see it. It was as if she had turned into someone else, captivated by him, as if under some spell. That March morning, I confronted her in the office. "Sophia, how could you? Why are you letting Mark destroy what we've built together?" But her gaze was distant, cold as ice. She simply replied that I was being too emotional, and that there's no room for sentiment in business. I felt as if I'd been struck. Standing in the middle of our humble office, surrounded by boxes of new samples that now felt pointless, I realized my world was becoming unfamiliar. That night, I decided to talk to my brother, Igor. He was my partner, and together we had built this business back in 2002. Igor tried to support me, though he too was shocked by Sophia's behavior. "Give her time," he said. "Maybe she'll realize she's making a mistake. She's young. Mark's just a phase, but family is forever." Yet even he could see how this situation was eating away at me. The business we had fought for every day to keep afloat could be destroyed by one thoughtless decision, one careless step by my daughter. It's now April, and I'm barely holding on. Mark continues to extract everything he can from Sophia. I see her hiding her phone when I enter the room, rushing out for lunch breaks without answering my questions. I'm terrified of what will happen next. But the most painful thing is her indifference. My own daughter, whom I raised and lived for all these years, is now acting as a tool in the hands of a ruthless competitor. And I don't know how to go on. Comments from Reddit users "BusinessMom in pain." Reading this, I understand that sometimes, the people we put all our hopes in can hurt us the most. It's terrifying when everything relies on loyalty, only to have it torn apart by outsiders. Stay strong, Anna. Cold-hearted trick 22. Maybe Sophia doesn't see what she's doing. Young people can be blind to the consequences. I think by the time she realizes Mark's just using her, it'll be too late. What a horrible situation. My heart goes out to you. Lost Family 123. It's hard to imagine such betrayal from one's own child. I always feared my kids might choose other companies, but to go to a competitor? That's beyond understanding. Sometimes, it feels like life puts us through unbearable trials to teach us something profound. But how can you understand the lesson when everything that once gave meaning to your life is at stake? Friends, thank you for your comments, but I feel that this story is far from over. I need to relive it again to find even a hint of light in this darkness. The breaking point came on April 15, 2023. My brother and partner, Igor, and I reviewed our March sales report. Sales had dropped by nearly 40%. 40%, friends. We'd spent over 10 years reaching this level, and now, everything we had worked so carefully to build was slipping away. I couldn't help but connect it to recent events, the constant strange coincidences and suspicious leaks of information. Worse, everything pointed back to Mark Richards and Sophia. That same day, I went to Sophia's apartment because she hadn't returned my calls for a week. Her friend answered the door, looking slightly nervous. It turned out Sophia had left earlier that morning for a meeting with Mark. Her friend cautiously hinted that recently, all Sophia talked about was him and their future plans. I could hardly believe my ears. At 26, she seemed ready to sever all ties for this man. Standing in her empty apartment, I felt like my daughter was slipping further away, as if her love for Mark was turning her into someone else entirely. Returning home, I looked at old photos of Sophia. In them, we're smiling, she's still a child, so trusting, so innocent. Tears filled my eyes. All these years, I believed we'd face any challenge together, but now it felt like everything could fall apart so easily. Imagine a mother who never thought her child could act this way, standing in an empty house and crying, as if her world had collapsed. And then I thought, what if this was just the beginning? A few days later, Igor and I decided to review the company's financial records for the last 6 months. We discovered numerous unexplained expenses that didn't match our usual costs. The documents showed over $50,000 spent on consulting services and additional projects I had never heard of. The worst part? These payments were linked to the division Sophia used to manage. That was the moment I realized my patience had run out. I couldn't let this go unanswered. All my attempts to mend things, to find common ground with Sophia or at least understand what she was thinking, had failed. The next morning, I called her directly, trembling with anger, and asked, "Sophia, what are you doing? Why do I keep hearing about you from Mark and his company?" But instead of explaining, she coldly replied, "Mom, you don't understand. This is just business. Mark is helping me grow, and your company, it's no longer for me." Her words shattered me completely. Just business. I had poured every bit of my soul into this company, sacrificed my personal life to ensure her stability and future. And now she was saying it wasn't for her? Sophia didn't even realize how deeply her words hurt me. Her tone was like that of a stranger I'd never known. That evening, I told Igor we'd fight for the company until the end. Even if it meant getting lawyers involved and opening an investigation, I couldn't allow Mark to take everything Igor and I had built. For the first time in my life, I felt I couldn't trust my own daughter, and that was the hardest blow of all. Now I have only one path forward, to protect our company, even if it means losing Sophia. Comments from Reddit users: Heartbroken Mom, Anna, I'm heartbroken reading this. It's incredibly painful when your own child chooses something other than family. You're strong, stay strong. Realistic Fighter 45, it's truly terrifying when someone changes under someone else's influence. If this happened with my child, I don't know how I'd cope. Keep going, Anna, sometimes we have to fight even against our closest. Family First 2020, my sympathies. It seems Sophia doesn't understand what she's doing. Maybe she just doesn't see that to Mark, she's only a tool. I hope she'll come to realize it before it's too late. This might be the hardest thing I've ever written. People say that going through hardships makes us stronger. But the truth is, some wounds stay with us forever, and nothing can heal them. This is the story of how my trust and years of work were shattered by those I had given everything to. April was ending, and it felt like everything around me was crumbling. On April 24th, I received a letter from one of our top clients, a longtime friend and partner who had been with us for over 15 years. The letter was brief and to the point. He was terminating our contract and moving to another company. Who was he switching to? My competitor, Mark Richards. That same day, I called a lawyer and began an internal investigation into our financial losses and leaks of information. It was painful to even imagine having to do this with my own daughter in question, but I had no choice. I hired an independent auditor to conduct a thorough analysis and asked my brother Igor to help make sense of it all. More and more data pointed to the likelihood that Sophia had been using her access to our financial and marketing information to support Mark. Every one of these details cut through me like a knife, but I had to stay strong. Gathering my courage, I decided to speak openly with Sophia one last time, though I no longer hoped for honesty or understanding. I invited her to our old office in New Haven, where we'd started the business and where every piece of furniture held memories. She arrived, looking poised in a business suit, confident and even cold. This was no longer my daughter, this was a distant businesswoman. "Sophia," I began, casting aside all doubts and fears, "I know what you've been doing." "Why?" Her response struck me to my core. Mom, business is war. If we're not willing to take risks, we'll be destroyed. Your methods are outdated, and Mark has shown me how true professionals succeed. You'll never understand that." She added that she saw her future with Mark's team and that the old family business was already her past. For the first time, I felt not just that she had betrayed our work, but that she had betrayed me. After that, I didn't try to convince Sophia anymore. I left the office, holding back tears, but as soon as the door closed behind me, I broke down. From that day forward, I had only one mission: to save the company. I couldn't allow everything Igor and I had built to be taken away. From that moment, I took decisive action, securing new partnerships to strengthen our finances, launching a rebranding campaign to distance ourselves from Mark's influence. Igor stood by me, supporting every step, but I knew this would be a long, painful road. Just a few days later, I found out that Mark had officially offered Sophia a leadership position in his company. This was announced at a corporate event I happened to see on social media. There she was, my own daughter, standing beside Mark, smiling as never before, receiving her reward for betraying our family. In that moment, I realized I had lost her forever. This experience has changed me. It's shown me that sometimes, those we love most can cause us the deepest pain. But it has also made me stronger. Now, at the start of May, Igor and I are working 16-hour days to lift the company back up. We have fewer clients left, but those who remain support us sincerely. Sometimes it feels like our old partners were more than just business, they were our true family. I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive Sophia. This story isn't over, but it has already changed my heart forever. Comments from Reddit users Survivor Mom, Anna, I'm in awe. It's horrifying when loved ones choose other values for the sake of their career. I can't imagine how you're enduring all this, but I see your strength. Don't give up. Business Burns 67, your story is a sad reminder that sometimes trust in family doesn't pay off. Thank you for sharing, this is a lesson for many of us who work with family. Rising Again 2021, once Sophia realizes Mark used her, it may be too late. I feel for you, Anna. This is an immense trial, but you will overcome it.